Welcome to another edition of Timeless Sports. My name is Aaron Brady, and we're glad that you're here watching. There's 30 baseball teams in Major League Baseball. So with that, there's 30 parks, 30 ballparks. But there can only be 3 that make our top 3 MLB ballpark list. So that's what we're going to be debating today on Timeless Sports. Let's go ahead and let's meet the crew of Timeless Sports. Today, we have Parker Smith.
Let's go, boys.
Ronny Gallant, the Ron Dog.
What up, what up?
And Kyle Stark. All right, so top 3 MLB ballparks. Parker's going to kick this one off. So Parker, who do you have for your number 3 most iconic Major League ballpark?
Okay, so the 3 parks I have to admit, I'm not the biggest baseball fan, but these are the ones that even the casual fan and observer like me knows about. And so number 3, I got the Yankee Stadium.
Yes.
It is the older one, and so that's the one you have all of the records and the championships and all of the iconic players. And so that's number 3. Number 2 is Wrigley Field. Actually, really love this field. Went there in Chicago. It's just so cool, just really cool atmosphere, even just around the stadium and the tram that's there, and just super neat history. And just what a cool atmosphere. And the number 1, of course, is Fenway. And so, of course, Boston Red Sox, the legacy of just the Red Sox, and they're finally living up to that legacy, winning recently. And so you got to take that. And so those are my top 3 that I have as best ballparks.
And so you went to Wrigley. How long ago was that?
That was last year.
So who did you see play there?
I saw, I did not see a game. I just went and viewed the stadium.
Yeah.
And so it was absolutely incredible. Really good Chicago pizza joints, all like a whole strip of them and bars just right next to the stadium. People were everywhere. It was a Sunday afternoon, so it was kind of crazy, but really, really cool.
Very nice. Mm-hmm. Ronnie.
So I had we talked about this as a debate. I had a debate with myself for number 3. Wearing a Rocky shirt, Coors Field. I went there on my honeymoon this summer. Something about it, just beautiful downtown Denver. But I went with Oracle Park, where the San Francisco Giants play. You know, that ocean water just outside the park. Max Muncy said to Mad Bum, go fetch it out the water. Because I don't know if you guys saw that, him getting all upset that he hit a home run and did a slow trot around the bases. Second, similar to Parker, I went with Wrigley Field. Can't beat that iconic grass on the walls. It's just timely, kind of similar in a way to Fenway, that there's history negatively for a long time. They couldn't break that curse. And first of all, the best ballpark in the country, no debate, Fenway Park.
Now, and Ronnie, where are you from?
I am from Boston, Massachusetts. So maybe a little biased there, but that you can't beat the monster.
Yeah.
There's something about Manny being Manny, taking a break in left field, taking a restroom break, walking in. You just can't beat it.
Yeah.
Can't beat it.
That's I think too. If we were to debate, not only the most iconic ballparks, but the most iconic feature in a ballpark, I think the Green Monster runs away with it.
And I think Fenway, if I remember correctly, is the only ballpark that still has not had renovations from the original building.
Oh, interesting.
So they reached 110 years since Fenway was built that no renovations has happened to it.
Yeah.
So
All I'm saying is that if we were going outside of just Major League, I would have the Frisco Rough Riders. That's them, right?
Dr. Pepper Ballpark.
Dr. Pepper Ballpark, because they got a lazy river in the outfield, and
Shout
so
out to the Rough Riders.
shout out to them.
That's a pretty. Does any other? Well, I think I have heard of some parks. I don't know if it's football. Is it the Jacksonville Jaguars? There's some team. I don't know what sport.
Cabanas. The Jaguars have cabanas.
Yeah, in some sort of pool or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which makes, in Florida, that makes sense. Kind of like here in Texas, it makes sense to have something like that. Pretty cool. All right, cool, Ronnie. Kyle Stark, what do you got?
All right. Well, talking about other parks. First of all, I want to say the longest active played stadium in America, Goss Stadium, Oregon State University. First baseball there since 1907. The stadium opened in the same exact spot where home plate's been for 112 years now. which is pretty cool. But I do have Fenway as my number 3. So much history. The Green Monster is just whenever you think of an outfield fence and you think about the Green Monster, I always thought, man, I don't know how anybody hits it over that thing.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I would hate to play there just as a hitter. And like, man, I'm never going to hit a home run. That's insane. But second, I do have Oracle down in San Francisco. You think of San Francisco, you think of people hitting balls over the outfield fence and going into the water and everybody kayaking around, finding the balls and getting take that home as a souvenir. How cool would that be? But number 1, I do have Wrigley Field. It's cool. You got the hedges going around the outfield. You got just the Cubs from the songs to just the way they do things there. It's just it's a culture, man. It's not just a stadium, but it's the way they do things there.
Yeah.
Poor White Sox.
Seriously,
you gotta live with that. Yeah.
Not only as a team, but like stadium-wise. I mean, you're always looking at Wrigley saying, "Wow."
And they live in Chicago with Wrigley and the Cubs, and then also they're not even the best Sox. You got the Red Sox who are even better than the White Sox. So like, come on, what were they thinking?
That's true. They should have been a little more creative, I think, with their team name there.
Yeah, they could have went to pants or shirts. Come on, anything, handkerchiefs. We got this.
All right, so I'll wrap it up. I got a little different list. We'll see how the rest of everybody thinks about it. But so number 3, I've got Dodger Stadium out there in Los Angeles. So this is I think it's the 3rd oldest stadium. It was built in 1962. So that's one thing. So it's been around. Fenway Park's obviously the oldest, but Dodger Stadium's been around for a long time. Not only that, Dodger Stadium's actually it can hold the most fans out of any stadium in Major League Baseball. It can hold 56,000 fans. A lot of stadiums are up in the 50s and that kind of thing, but Dodger Stadium takes the cake. They are number 1 with 56,000 seat capacity. So that to me is pretty cool. Let's see, what else? Oh, one of the things that I thought was interesting with this as well is kind of like Yankee Stadium. Dodger Stadium's named after the team. I think it's easy for owners to sell the rights of the stadium to, like here with the Cowboys, right? It used to be Texas Stadium. People kind of called it Cowboy Stadium. They moved to Arlington, and now it's AT&T Stadium. And so I think that when you look at regardless of the sport, I think that a lot of owners have that temptation to sell away the rights of the stadium. I think it was cool. I think credit to Dodger Stadium and the ownership there to leave that team name there, and it's called Dodger Stadium. So that's my number 3 pick.
Now, Aaron, can I say real quick, this is the same Dodger Stadium. I think it's old, but they did call a game in 2018 because there was sewage getting onto the field in the 5th inning. Okay,
I'm
starting to smell a little bit, and they called it. So
that's a good point. I would say that if this were a list of the ballparks I want to visit, Dodger Stadium's probably number 30, at least like bottom 20.
Right.
But if we're talking about iconic, the fact that they hold the most seats, they've been around for a long time, Dodger Stadium. But that's a good, as far as visiting it, not the top of my list for sure. So Fenway Park, number 2. I know that we all have it somewhere on our list, but for me it's number 2. I think one of the unique things there is not only, we've talked about the Green Monster, it's pretty cool, but how cool would it be to be in, what is it, Ronnie? There's 3 rows of seats up there. How cool would it be to land a seat for one of those games up on the Green Monster? Like, not only do you have that iconic left field wall, but you get the vantage point of getting to sit from on top of the wall and look down on the field. You don't get that any sport anywhere. So I think that kind of takes Fenway to whole other levels, the fact that you can actually sit up there.
It's actually on my bucket list. Funny you say that. Before I go, before the good Lord takes me home, I said,
there you go.
Just let me get one game on the Monster.
Yeah. I can't imagine. I haven't done a whole lot of research, but I can't imagine how difficult it is to snag a seat up there. Yeah. I got to go to a game at Fenway. I don't know, it was maybe 2013 or so. The Rangers were up there playing, and I went with a group of people up there, and just had a it was back in high school. It was probably 2010, 2011. But the Rangers scored like 7 runs in the first inning up there, and so we got a "Let's Go Rangers" chant started at Fenway. People probably wanted to mug us, but we escaped alive. So number 1, Yankee Stadium. Same argument as Dodger Stadium in terms of they keep the Yankee name. They didn't sell out to anybody. So the fact that they kept it Yankee Stadium is one of the reasons. The original stadium was built in 1923. I know that they demolished the old one. They got a new one in 2009, but it's a replica. I mean, they literally made it the exact same, except they added seats and they made it bigger. So I mean, to me, it's the same. It's the same stadium, just on a more grand scale, and it's a lot more new and refurbished than what the old one was. But to me, it's still a stadium that's been around since 1923 in a way, and I think that I give that credit. As well, then just also the history. There's just like Fenway and Dodger Stadium. Those teams have been there for a long time. Lots of games have been played there. Lots of memories made there as well. So I got Dodger Stadium 3, Fenway Park number 2, and Yankee Stadium number 1.
And it's worth noting that Yankee Stadium and technically Fenway as well were also in iconic sitcoms like Seinfeld has Yankee Stadium all up and out, and Cheers talks a lot about the Boston Red Sox. Just
Interesting.
Trivia for the.
If you ever go to Boston,
Trivia for the.
if you ever go to Boston, go to Faneuil Hall, and the actual Cheers place is in Faneuil Hall.
Huh.
So you visit that pub.
And that whole, what's it called out there? That whole area outside of Fenway. There's like a whole strip of.
Yawkey Way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a really cool area too.
It is. It's when the games are happening. The whole area is shut down for like a 4-block radius because they don't want to let any cars in there. So it was last year when I went up there to see the Rangers play. So my wife wore a Ranger shirt and I wore Red Sox gear.
Ooh.
And house divided, I guess is the first time. We went out there and it was just crazy finding parking. Like we even bought a pass early, but still it's chaos.
Yeah. Well, and the last thing I'll say too, Boston's this way, New York's this way. I would imagine Wrigley's this way too. Not so much about the stadium, but just the culture of everybody's jumping on the subway with all the gear. So like you're literally taking the subway to Wrigley or to Fenway or to Yankee Stadium, and like everybody's decked out in the jerseys and the t-shirts, and so it's just kind of a cool. Whereas here, like in Texas, we're just used to going and parking somewhere in a parking lot, kind of walking into the game. But like there, you're all taking the public transportation to the park, and I think that kind of adds to the atmosphere of the ballparks too. So.
Yeah. So let us know whose list you think was best. Also, let us know if you've been to one of these stadiums and what you thought about it. And so until next time, we'll catch you later.